got thrown into one as soon as I moved down here. I moved down here maybe 3 to 4 days before the new year. And so the transition from that, the growth and coming to understanding how you live in a father's house and to function as a family. I've had family before, but my father ended up leaving my mother when I was young, and so I didn't know the operation of a mother and a father and siblings, and you function as the father submits to God and the father is over the wife and the children, and they submit one to each other, the husband and the wife. And so I came into a brand new learning experience off top.
Pastor Andre Cranford has been a great impact in my life in just a short time, because every time I've had an encounter with him, he has challenged me to be greater than what I settled for. And for whatever reason, even when you don't see it, he'll see it and won't allow you to stay in a mediocre place. So those are one of the things I really appreciate him for. So he's been very impactful, made me think again, and also has lit a fire up under me where I'm literally dreaming again and really walking into or going into the direction of where I need to be going, where I initially started and let go. So that's been a positive impact on my life with him.
Learn that to do what he did, it took to, he was fearless. He mentioned Apostle Shelby some time ago, and he said that man has a spirit like a pit bull. Like, he don't take no for an answer. He can, if he see it and he grabs it, that's the end of it. And he said he's taught me how to be that way, and he pushed that on me as a friend to go beyond your comfort zone. And that's in everybody. You're not gonna be around people like him and just be able to stay in your comfort zone, because he's always gonna push you to do more.
But we've been through a lot together. Everything from just, giving me advice on my marriage, just sitting out, giving me advice on manhood, how to be a man. He's been an excellent role model, but just how being a father, a husband, has been something that I've never seen before, and I really appreciate everything he's done. He's done a lot of behind the scenes, laboring with me and my family.
I knew one thing was for me to have my wits about myself, and I had to learn fast, me being older. But I was excited about the chance, the opportunity, struggling and still a little sloppy in certain areas and needing help, mentorship, fathership, hands-on, somebody to teach me, walk me through, explain things to me. And so Apostle Cranford and Lady Cranford have really worked with me, but I so valued the man of God, not taking anything away from the woman of God, but the man of God, because I never had my father. And so it just was awesome learning how with the mistakes, the mess ups, almost doing something that would have brought shame upon the church, upon the man of God, him speaking to me, talking to me, and allowing me to understand these things, to where my movement, if I didn't do what I needed to do, I would bring shame. And so I began to learn lessons quickly and begin to value the words of wisdom that were given to me, because I was given a position, a blessing, being as old as I was, and I didn't want to misuse my chance.
We was tempted to fabricate our taxes. We ended up doing that, we ended up moving from where we was at to in with a family member, which happened to be a cheaper arrangement, but we didn't realize we were ripping ourselves off spiritually as well. So, and doing that, Apostle, he found out about it. He sat us down, he rebuked us, of course, told us, gave us the real, He's always been real, you know what I'm saying? He never sugarcoat nothing. He's never been caught up in, how much you giving an offering, you know what I'm saying? He's always cared about the integrity of the offering rather than the quantity of the offering. And that's just with anything, with service, with anything, you know. I've always admired that about him. And so, long story short, that led to us moving in with somebody who happened to be unfavorable towards us. We get into a big dispute over property and things of that nature. Police are called. They call police. You know what I'm saying? I'm the one that of course, get the blame because I'm the guy with the criminal record. So long story short, my wife is 8 months pregnant. She gets physically assaulted. Some of our things get taken, and then we get displaced. We go through a short stint of homelessness. He was still, you know, praying with us. He wasn't, you know, like, oh, well, you know, that's what you get. You know, you should have been. He wasn't none of that. You know what I'm saying? And so we end up, you know, God ended up giving us grace to find a place, find our stuff, get our stuff back. You know, what was stolen from us, you know, God found a way and put it on someone else's hearts to bless us with certain things. So that was good. But in the meantime, you know, the devil was still working.
So here's the story with the calling. I've been called a pastor, and I've been doing this for over 10 years. And, you know, life transitions, things happen. I moved from Indiana, I moved here. So I was only kind of introduced to the area's music. So I was kind of, you know, just in music. So I kind of suppressed that part of my evangelistic side. And I would just kind of operate in the faculties when chance is given, you know, doing, you know, when I'm up ministering through music. And I kind of caught myself being content, but yet still miserable because I wasn't walking in the fullness of who I'm called to be. And so, Pastor Cranford, no one, you know, and no preacher, to be honest with you, I can maybe only count one here that has said anything or made mention of, you know, Steve, I see what God has for you, Elder Anderson, I see, you know, blah, blah, blah. But never challenged me to walk back in that place or to get back in position.
And, you know, it's really the latest fad now. You know, people are like, oh, that's my spiritual father, that's my spiritual daughter, that's my spiritual son. And it's a lot of foolishness going on now, because if that's your spiritual daughter, why in the world is you sleeping with her? You nasty thing, you. And people don't understand the art of real fathering and parenting, but it's a parenting anointing. And it's manifested so powerfully now. I mean, I am fathering people and mentoring people who are older even than me, but they look to me for spiritual fathering and leadership. And so that's the anointing that's on an apostle. And then I'm fathering people, and I've got sons that are now going out into ministry. And I'm birthing out, you know, ministry through, you know, encouraging them to preach out and to dig out and things.
I learned from my son and daughter. I learned from them while I was there. I think I spent about 3 years there. And I'm still learning from them. When I come to certain problems, I call one of them.
One morning I just got up and go up to the office to go, you know, for my monthly report, and I got arrested. You know, I hit the corner, and there's about 5 police officers, feds, fugitive task force. They, you know, basically shoved me up against the wall, tell me I'm arrested. You know, so I knew why I was arrested, but at that point it was just nothing I could do. It was just so frustrating. And just like I'm sitting in this chair right now, you know, I had shackles on my feet, ankles, and my hands for like 3 hours, no water, no bathroom break. And I was just sitting there like, man, you know, I just felt so, you know, stupid, you know, because I knew how I ended up in that position, you know. And, you know, my wife took it really hard. You know, I was locked up, ended up having to go to the county jail. And, you know, even then, you know, you would say, hey, you know, this guy, you know, he probably ain't gonna come up here and see me, you know. That's not what I was saying, but in most cases like that, you would probably say that because, you know, Apostle, he's a busy man. You know, he's pastoring 2 churches, he got several children, you know, he's got a lot going on. You know, he could easily just send someone else to come up there, you know, visit or whatever, write a letter. But not only did he write letters, he had all the men write letters in the church. Even him sent me scriptures, answered my phone calls. And then he topped it off even coming up there himself, him and his wife. And the whole time I was up there, it took about 5 months for that whole process. And out of the 5 months, 4 months, I was able to get visits. He was up there every week, and he did not miss not one Tuesday. And I just think that's very commendable, for somebody that's got a workload such as him. That was very commendable, and that's something that I never forget. And I think that was something that really was like a defining season in our relationship. Before that, I really looked at him as a mentor. I looked at him as a father figure, as somebody who I can look up to as a role model. But really, that situation was really heartfelt. It really showed, the depth of his compassion, towards people. And a lot of pastors don't get a lot of credit, and it's a lot of pastors that get stereotyped. But I just think, guys like him don't get enough credit for what he did. That was very, words can't even really describe it, man. Just being up there, I'm away from my family, I'm going through it, and that was really attacking me. But he took his time to come up there and visit me. And, it was just really amazing, the times that we had, the conversation that we had, just praying and, him just encouraging me. It was actually more than what my natural father was doing at that time. My natural father was there, don't get me wrong, but just having a spiritual father in times like that is nothing like it. He spiritual father brings something to the table. Brings certain tangible attributes to the table that cannot be matched. Just the way of encouraging and compassion and love, love among all things, and just showing the love of Christ, able to keep me and keep my sanity intact, And then not only that, but just through being around him, he was not only able to keep my sanity intact, but he was actually able to, I don't know if I told him, but he was actually able to encourage me to be able to minister to other people in there while I was going through something. Because the first couple of weeks, maybe month or so, it was a real mental battle, man. I was really battling with, depression and a lot of guilt, a lot of self-condemnation. And, from his letters and the men writing, the everything that, God had told him to orchestrate together concerning me, really helped me during that time. And I was able to actually muster up, enough strength that God had given. God was able to give me enough strength and enough, courage to be able to minister to people in there. And it was through, the prayers and the visits and just the works of, Apostle.
Realized that I prayed, cried out to God. God gave me favor with a man and with a woman of God who will walk with me and take time with me and not look at how old I was or the things I was handicapped in, whether it was my communication, my education, not graduating from high school, not ever being in college, not even knowing what a fast for was. I learned this because of the man of God, the woman of God, taking time, teaching me how to fill out a fast. It's different things that you think people hear and know about, but they don't have a clue about because nobody takes the time. My mother went to college. She's a college graduate of Mississippi Valley State. But in my mother's house, I never heard of the word fast for. And so I thank God for spiritual parents, a spiritual father, a spiritual mother, because there are things that you need that you may not necessarily get from a natural mother and father. I don't take anything away from my natural mother and father, but God knew that I needed spiritual parents that would look at me and not look at how old I was, but look at what God was saying pertaining to my purpose and my destiny and grooming me for such a thing.
The Bible talks about, I believe it's in Malachi, about the spirit of Elijah, and he will turn the hearts of the fathers to the sons, the hearts of the sons to the fathers. There's a fathering anointing that a lot of times in the absence of fathers, God will raise up fathers. And in the absence of mothers, God will raise up spiritual mothers. And so God has blessed us, my wife and I, to be spiritual parents to people. And we take it very seriously. There are some that we've taken into our homes, some that we've, just stood by in various ways, and we do what parents should do, because so many times this generation has not seen proper